So you're thinking about retiring, whether it's early, whether it's fluid, glide, hybrid, whatever. But when you stopped working for the man, all of a sudden there's a white elephant in the room. And that white elephant, called healthcare cost, keeps a lot of us, Gen Xers and women, working way too long out of ignorance. The fear of healthcare cost has kept us working longer, not just in the amount of years and the amount of effort or the amount of jobs, but it has prevented us from even considering retirement, more so than the lack of money and preparation financially has ever kept us from doing. For me, I know it's one of the biggest reasons I'm going a little bit on steroids, trying to figure out, am I prepared? Do I have enough? How much more do I need to pile up? What size cash fund do I have? What do I need to start doing now to address my healthcare cost over time to ensure that I can afford it? Yeah, we've all heard the nightmare stories out there. In this video, we're going to unpack some of the myths, some of the urban legends, and figure out how we can actually get the facts and the information we need to make the best decision for us. So what if healthcare really isn't this giant boogeyman, this giant monster we've been led to believe? What if it's not, and it shouldn't be, the last thing holding you back from taking the next step into this chapter of our lives? So yeah, I thought healthcare was going to be the one thing to keep me from retiring either early or at all before age 65 in Medicare, regardless of how much attention and planning and side hustles and income streams I've created or am creating. I thought it's going to be the one thing that holds me back. The one thing I'm too afraid of to face and to figure out how I can overcome it. Because with the urban legends we've all heard, because we've all got a friend who has a cousin or an aunt who lost everything because of one health situation. We've all got that. We've all heard that. It's in every sitcom. It's in every news story. The fear-based information we've been provided should stop directing our actions now. If we don't find the facts, if we don't get the right information for us, just like your retirement number that you need is completely individualized to you, your healthcare cost and your healthcare needs is as well. And the things that you can do now in preparation and the things that you'll do wisely throughout your next chapter are all very individualized to you. So let's talk about this, because it's time to quit dancing around it. It shouldn't be one of those topics at the dinner table growing up that you whispered, hey, did you hear so-and-so entered menopause? Did you see her so-and-so? Did you hear that so-and-so had this medical event and can't retire now? No, it should not be the hush-hush, don't talk about it in mixed company subject matter. Most of what we believe about healthcare after we leave a job who is providing benefits, or for those of us who have always had to pay our own healthcare costs because we were self-employed, etc., regardless of how you have historically had health insurance or paid for your health care, the fear-mongering stories have had an impact on your move in every decision, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. It makes for interesting conversation topics. The catastrophe of healthcare destroying the planet, but destroying people's retirement budgets. How one heart attack wiped them out and they all had to go back to work. It makes really entertaining conversations. We all enjoy a good horror story. We do. But the reality of it is it's not necessarily that way, nor do you have to plan your retirement and your next steps around these overinflated, sensationalized stories until you get the facts. And then on the other side of that is the complete silence. For those among us who have actually had to go through some of these catastrophic events, who've had to face horrible medical situations within their family, or maybe it's their parents, etc., we never talk about the financial portion of it in mixed company. It's not just a Southern thing. This is universal. Case in point, my dad, when he first started having his first health events, which were about 15 years before he finally had a health event he couldn't overcome. We'll call it that. But he was terrified, absolutely terrified. He actually, before he went into the hospital under a significant need to get there in an emergency situation, started calling neighbors wanting to sell off property because he didn't know how he's going to afford this. Yes, did he have health insurance? He did. He was on Medicare health insurance at that point, but he had never truly dug in and understood what his insurance was going to cover in the event of an emergency or a dire situation. So all he had to go on were all those stories he'd heard his entire life of how this was about to wipe him out. And that was his main concern going into that. It wasn't, I need to get better. I need to think of my family. I want to dance at my niece's wedding. No, it was the cost. So let's prepare in advance with figuring out what it truly costs for our health insurance after we leave our employment, what that health insurance really covers, because now that it's no longer being given to us on a silver platter for those of us who have had policies through our employers, we don't necessarily have an HR team to call. We don't. We can call the insurance companies, but let's understand it on the front end before we make the selection of which policy that we want to buy into. It may be a few dollars more a month, but the coverage, the significant peace of mind you may get with this policy versus the bare bones bottom rung policy might make more sense for you. So this is going to be this series. We're going to start diving into how we can get this education, figure out for ourselves what the actual cost is going to be. So keep coming back. This is a 7-day series, and this is video number 1. By taking action to educate yourself, to dive in, action is going to provide you clarity. And clarity based on your numbers, because by this point you've already run your numbers. You know what you currently need per month, and you know how that translates into retirement, which a key portion of that is your healthcare cost. Healthcare cost is not just your insurance policy. It's your prescriptions, it's your supplements, it's your fitness regime, it's your gym memberships, everything that goes into shoring up and creating the healthiest you as possible. That's all part of the healthcare cost. But this series, we're talking about what you're actually going to pay out of pocket for your insurance, your prescriptions, and your supplements if you're on those, or if you choose to be on those. Because a lot of us, we have gone off the grid. We have not the grid. We have gone off. We have gone insane. I was guilty of this as well with the supplements that we choose to take, chasing down the next TikTok miracle cure. We need to get wise about that. We'll talk about that in a later episode. And I know this feels overwhelming. There's a lot to unpack here. There's a lot for you to learn. There's a lot for you to research on your own, especially now, because you have a runway to get all of this understanding in bite-sized consumable chunks ready for you to action. But even partial information is going to take the mystery and the anxiety away from this. It is just another toll gate on the road to the next chapter of your life that you have to prepare for, pass through, and emerge from wiser, better educated, and empowered to know what your number's going to be. So we're going to ask a lot of questions, and those questions are going to provide clarity and answers for us, which is going to give us comfort and peace knowing that we can manage this. If this topic has you on edge, if you are concerned about what healthcare insurance is going to cost, and then the whole gambit of healthcare if you were to leave your employer, don't let that be the one reason. Don't let that be the sole reason you're not moving forward with your retirement or your transition into this next chapter of life, even if you don't plan to fully retire. You need to empower yourself with information. Leave me a comment down below. I don't want this to be the reason I can't move forward. I'm tired of being frozen. I have had horror stories in my life about this. Share it with us, because we all need to understand we're not the only one afraid of this. And yeah, It's a non-fact-based fear. With that said, I am Jenny. I got a little to say about a lot of stuff. This is a 7-day series, all talking about healthcare and healthcare cost. At the end, we'll have a YouTube live, so y'all keep coming back. Stop recording.